So Ankit, now we can switch on to discussing your interview experience, or at least the things which happened during your interview. We can talk about that. And just to reiterate your points, you have already mentioned that TSMC did not conduct any test. The shortlisting was mainly based on, or in fact, it was totally based on your resume. And after signing the JF, they shortlisted and then they released the list of students for the interview. And you have mentioned that somewhat 9 to 10 students were shortlisted for this particular JAF of data engineer.
Yes.
Yes. So now we can talk about the number of rounds of your interview and the duration. And of course, you can talk, if you remember those things, that will be really great. We can talk about those things in detail, the things which happened in each and every rounds.
So basically, there was only one round,
Okay.
one and final round. And the thing is, considering Japanese interviews or maybe overseas interviews, not Japanese, considering any overseas interviews, Taiwan, Singapore, or Japan, so they do not conduct interviews like 1 hour, 1.5 hour. So they have only interview of 20 minutes. So yeah, in 20 minutes you have to prove yourself. So that is what I can see. Because I have also given Honda's interview. Honda, I have given 2 interviews of Honda as well, Honda Japan. So
Yeah.
in considering all this, so you have only 20 minutes to prove yourself, and they are time bound. So you cannot give a lengthy answers to them, and you can give a short answer, but you cannot give lengthy answers to them. And even you have to speak slowly because there is an accent issue which is
Yes.
there
Yes. Yes. Yes.
between us and them because we spell words differently, they spell words differently.
Yes.
So to keep things simple, we have to speak slowly, slowly. That is what I can. That is what I found. And slowly means really slowly. But the thing is, you have only 20 minutes. So the thing is, you have to use breadcrumbs kind of a thing. So
Yes.
you have to keep some kind of a breadcrumb so that your last question leads to a new question, and you are expert in that. So you can keep telling that.
Yes.
So the basic thing which I found in every interview is tell me about yourself.
Yes.
Every
Yes.
interview starts with one question, tell me about yourself. So your answer of tell me about yourself should not be same for all the companies. It should be as per the job. And because the thing is you have done lot of things. You have done, let's say, 20 things. But all 20 things will not be there for every company. Na? So for some company there are only 4 things are important. Other 4 things are important for other companies. You have to pick those things and you have to put that in your tell me about yourself. And your tell me about yourself should be catered according to the company requirement.
Yeah.
And once you do that, so you should end your tell me about yourself such that it leads to a question and
Yeah.
the guy can ask that question. So at the end, because my MTP was too relevant to the job, so I ended my tell me about yourself with my short short story of my MTP,
Yeah.
like my MTech project. So they asked me about my MTech project, and then I started explaining my MTech project. And from there, we went to another project of digital twin, which is there in my resume, reinforcement learning for optimal policy learning using reinforcement learning. And from there, we went to my research paper. So I think this was whole crux of my interview. And I was comfortable with all these projects, and I was easily able to answer the question. And I think research paper played a major role in the interview because it proves that you know the technology very well. Because when people are up, like just writing the projects in the resume, you have attended some kind of a level, and you have published that new novel. So I think that's a good idea to showcase your, and that proves that I know machine learning and I know the data pipeline.
Yes.
That that is easily convincing.
Yes. So as I can perceive that they started with telling about yourself, and then they went on to asking about your MTP, followed by your followed by your other projects which you have mentioned, and then your publication. So these were some key questions on which they were more interested. As we also know that in case of I miss Japanese, Taiwanese companies, they somewhat become impressed already. Means once they see the resume, then they make up their mind up to some extent that I need to take this guy. Or but yeah, during interview they just want to make sure that this is the right person. So I guess
Yes.
some in your case also they were already impressed, and they were just asking a few things to ensure what they were feeling, or at least cross check.
Also, they were asking some HR questions like in between. So there was some technical question, and in between there was HR question. They were asking about my lab, my work culture, the team size, how you handle the tension. So these kind of they were the in between sandwich questions, like the technical question sandwiched by a HR question. Likewise, it was going. I think at last they were convinced because as time's up, so they stop whenever they are like they could be in any project and they stop there only at the end of 20 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think they are really punctual and they respect the timeline or time which allotted by the placement cell. So they really follow that strict time bounds.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, Aniket. So, any question like in case of in your case, your MTP and several other projects which you have already mentioned. So, like you mentioned that reinforcement learning project, then your master's project, then followed by publication. So, in while answering questions on these projects, did you feel that you could miss any question which you could not answer actually, or you feel stuck at some point of time, or you think that I should have prepared it better?
Uh, I think so. That doesn't happen with me. The thing is, the one good thing happened with me was the the interviewer asked me one question that this is a problem and how would you answer that? And the fun part was that was answered in my research paper. So the thing is, I directly asked them, "Can I share my screen?" They said yes. So I just opened my research paper on their screen, and I showcased like this was the question and this is answered in my research paper. So they were really convinced that okay, so whatever we are asking, he has written a research paper on this. So in that way, they were convinced. So I think I have answered all the questions.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So, Aniket, another thing, like in case of students who have been selected by Japanese firms, I came to know that they miss these students use some kind of presentations or some PPT to explain their MTP. Did you also do the same thing?
No, that was not there with the TSMC, but that was there with the Honda interview.
Okay, so there you prepared slides and these things to explain your MTP. But in case of TSMs, you explained verbally.
Yes.
Okay, okay. And you have also mentioned about that since the accent of Taiwan people and us are different, so we should act accordingly. So you means how did you prepare for that? Any mock or something like that to prepare for their accent or something?
No, that I learned from my Airbus interview because Airbus interview the people were Indian. There also I was speaking too fast, and that is what my family members heard. Like because I was in the home, it is a COVID placement, so
Yeah.
they were hearing like we were speaking too fast. Then I realized okay, you have to speak slowly because in online interview even if you are sitting in front and I'm speaking
Yeah.
too fast, it is very hard to grasp all the things. Then I found okay, if Indian people are not able to grasp my thing. So how would the Japanese or Taiwanese people are going to grasp? So I started speaking slowly. So there
Yeah.
was no preparation for that, but it was instantaneous.
Yes. Yeah. I think in case of online, there might be some network lag as well. So if we speak slowly, then we will not lose each other. We will be on the same pace.
The thing is, one of my friend called me just before interview, and he reminded me that you have to speak slowly, and that remains in my mind. And then I spoke slowly.
Yes. Yes, Aniket. So, in case of Japanese forms, people or students, they prepare some of the greetings words in Japanese. Hello, thank you, all these things. In your case, in the case of TSMC, did you also do the same thing? Like you prepared some words in Mandarin, or
No, I didn't.
you didn't? Means you simply spoke in English, everything in English.
Yes, I did that with Japanese firm, but I think it. I finally they don't look for these things. They look for the other things, your attitude and your technical aspect. Because these are easy things. You just can Google it and say
Yeah.
hello in 1 minute.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
But I think it plays some role. I have heard from my seniors, but I didn't use that.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, Aniket. Yeah, so I would again talk a bit about your interview, and just to because in case of TSMC, means there was no test, so the only criteria was resume, and of course we have talked about resume earlier, and now we need to discuss a bit about more about interview, so that the upcoming students they get an idea while appearing for these type of placements. So in your case, like so the level of questions, like even though they were asking questions on an MTP, so what was the level? Means they were going very very deep into that technicality, or they were just asking like what did you do in that project?
No, they were going into deep technicality. And apart from this, they were also judging the quantum of work which I have done, because they were asking about the teammates, so how you divided the work, what exactly you did. So these kind of questions they were asking. Not only technicality, they were also asking about the quantification.
Okay, okay. So any example, like if you could give any example of based on your project, like.
So I was explaining the services which I have developed for Industry 4. So they were asking like what, how communication happens, how they were asking how, and then suddenly they stopped and they said, tell me your team size, how many professors are involved, and what kind of equipments you have. So they were also cross checking in that sense, like what you were telling, so how you can defend that, and what was your quantification. And at, I think, one point they were like struggling because they were not able to judge me, but I think research paper helped me a lot because that proves everything which I explained earlier.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and you also discussed about HR questions, like they were discussing like team size and all these things. So any, any like you remember any other HR questions?
So they were asking how you handle the pressure, because as you are working on a live project, so there would be a huge pressure on this. So how you handle that? The thing is, then that was a new question because for uh, asking some questions, so they asked how you manage your pressure because you are working on some live project. So I was smiling because that was my strategy, to smile throughout the interview so as to ease the environment.
Mm.
Then then I paused because this was a new question which I never heard. Then I paused. So the good idea is whenever you tackle a question which you never encountered before, just take a pause, think about it. And my genuine answer was I was smiling, and that helped me to ease the pressure. So that answer I gave to them, and that was a genuine answer, and they were convinced of.
Yes. Uh, Sometimes in case of Japanese forms, they also ask like, where do you want to come to Japan? In case of Japanese forms, this is
Huh,
a very common question. This is a
huh,
very
okay.
common question. They ask, I think they ask like, why do you want to come to Japan? So in case
Huh.
of TSMC, did they ask similar question? Why do you
Yes,
want to come to Taiwan?
yes. They asked at the end. So they asked like, "Do you really want to come to Taiwan?" So that was their question. And if yes, then why? Why you want to come to Taiwan, and why you want to join TSM? So for that, I think to answer such question, you should read about the company and you should know basic facts and figures about the company. So that helps you to answer the question.
Yes, yes. Or any, okay. So like, how did you answer this question? Like, why do you want to come to Taiwan? How did you answer this question?
The thing is, I know like one of my friend who was placed in Taiwan in earlier placement. So I knew this company from maybe year or so, and I was following this company, and I was very keen to be a part of this company. So, and I read a lot of things about this company. So I just explained what I read and how I'm following the company, and I think that was a good convincing answer because I was following the company from 1 year. I knew their coming targets and what they have achieved. So I only explained those things, that this is the company and this they are working on this technology. And considering me, I'm working on this technology, so it's a good match, and I'll be happy. And it's a pioneer in the chip manufacturing company. So who don't want to be a part of such company?
Yes, yes,
That is
definitely.
what I have.
Definitely. Yeah. Any questions on your food habits? Like they also ask like whether you are a veg or non-veg, because for
No,
veg, okay, no such questions. Yeah.
so
Okay.
they were not asking the cultural fit kind of a question.
Okay. Then.
So
Okay.
this question asked usually asked in Japanese interview.
Yes. Yes. That's why I'm asking, because I have heard from people that that they do ask these questions, and miss they really do ask these questions. That's what.
Even they don't. care about knowing your Chinese, because in Taiwan they speak Mandarin Chinese, so they
Yes.
don't ask such questions. I think English suffice over there.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Aniket. So I guess then we have covered about your interview experience, and as you have already mentioned that it was only a 20 minutes duration, and they were having questions on technical aspects as well as some HR questions, some basic HR questions they were asking, and you could explain all of those questions very well. So okay, so let's summarize. And so any any do's and don'ts, like you some advice you'd like to give to the student, like what we should not do in the interview, or any mistake, something which you realize from your own experience.
The one thing which I found, like, first is speak slowly, whichever interview it is. So speak slowly. Another thing, don't jump or rush to answer the question immediately. Once you finish the question, I should not rush to answer your question. I
Yes.
should take a pause and 4 5 seconds. I should compile my answer and then I start giving my answer. So that's a good kind of, there is a good architecture of your answer, and you convey whatever your message very clear. And once you rush, so you ended up saying something, and then rest of your answer is just backing that thing and making it good. So that's how it spoils your answer.
Yeah.
That is what I found. And another thing which I found, people usually don't prepare for HR questions. Uh, and generally, people fail in HR questions. They are sound in technical, but they fail in HR questions. So my advice is to take HR questions seriously. So IIT Bombay conducts some mock interviews and they provide you some mock questions. So the thing is, you should speak to your seniors, ask them to conduct your only HR questions, like the questions like why not PhD, why MTech, sorry, why not PhD, why job,
Yeah.
your strengths, weaknesses. So how to package the question, because HR questions, though there is no right and wrong question. Everything goes like how diplomatically you answer
Yeah.
the question. So it needs some kind of practice, and I think, and there I found lot of my friends struggled in HR questions. They were okay with the technical stuff, but they struggled with HR questions. So my advice is to just call up your seniors and ask them to conduct your HR round. And I did that with my one of senior, and he took around 3 hours of my HR mock interview, and that helped me a lot, and that covered all of the questions. And it creates some kind of a mindset to answer any sudden surprise question.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah, Aniket, you have summarized all the things in great detail, and I think these are very basic things, but these things really, they are very important actually. That taking a pause or being patient, answering questions in a very calm manner, these things really do help. And preparing for HR interview questions, HR questions are really very important. And sometimes we really ignore those questions, but we should not do that.
So can I add one new thing which I found in my own interview, not in this interview, but other interview.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely.
Before TSMC interview, there was an Airbus interview, and I ended up there by over talking. So I over explained my each and every project. So from there, I learned you should not tell all technical details in one go. You should keep some room so that interviewer could ask you those questions back, and that's how its process goes. So basically, it's a interviewer's game. So interviewer should be the king, not you, and that calls like you're dominating the interviewer, and that should not happen. That is what I did in my Airbus interview. I dominated the interviewer in some sense because I ended up talking too much. So that should not be thing. You should speak only those details which he's asking, and not more than that. And you should not tell all the technical details in one go, and you should not start talking on technical details, because that's not a good strategy. Because let's suppose you are asking about about my project, and I started telling you some technical details directly. So it is very hard you to grasp all the technical details, because I know now what I did in technical. So there should be some story behind every project. So I should start telling that story, and that story is meant for like layman. It should be in layman language. So that is how advertisement made, na. So they explain the product, but in layman language. So if interviewer found this project is interesting, he'll start asking you the question. But if he found that the project is not good, he'll switch to next project. But once you start telling the technicality, so you both stuck at the same point, because now he has to ask some repetitive questions on the technical aspect which you explain. So that's how you both stuck, and there should be some point that he's also not aware of that technology, but he's just asking for sake of asking. And I think that's a bad thing. So there should be some storyline behind every project, and you should only explain the basic storyline in the layman's language. And if the interviewer finds it interesting, then he'll go ahead and then you start explaining the technical details, but at some level, not like you explained everything. So that is what my takeaway from my first.
Yes, yes. This is a very strong point, actually. This is a very strong point. And I guess, like you have mentioned, that explaining things in terms of layman language, that should be our first priority. And then, accordingly, whatever the interviewer asks, then we can answer their queries. Another question, like if you could tell us, of course, you have mentioned your talked about your resume, but some key points like these things in your resume might have helped you in getting shortlisted. Of course, you might not know the actual thing because that the company people only knows, but in your case, what are the points that you feel significant for your shortlisting for
So
the
the thing is, one thing which I forget to mention maybe. So if you are working on some new technologies, which are companies are also trying to work, and if you are working on this technology, so they are happy to take you for this position, because the thing is there are no people available in the world,
yes.
large number, which are working on the same technology. I think one keyword was there in my resume, the digital twin. You can find that several times. So
Yes.
that's a key word which was there in my resume, and that I think that was unique considering all IITs as well. So that made me separate from the crowd. And the same technology also they are working, uh, not they, each and every company is trying to work the new technology called digital twin. So I think that helped me a lot. So I think the using same keyword I was shortlisted in Honda as well, because Honda shortlist based on the SOP and resume. In SOP also there was one question you have to answer why you want to join Honda R&D, and I explained I want to develop digital twin for your product. I think that was a key takeaway. So whatever SOP and resume I wrote, like I always focused on the keyword digital twin, because that was my MTP's goal, and that's a new technology which every company wants to try and develop.
Yes, yes. So I think like your digital twin projects and your
Hmm.
publication and your research projects, these things have definitely helped you in cracking this interview or
Yes,
getting shortlisted for this interview.
yes.
Okay, so one last thing. What advice do you have for upcoming MTech mechanical engineering students? What advice do you have? How
So
should they prepare for placements, and when should they start thinking about placements? Because in mechanical engineering there are three different specializations. So how, because and all of them are quite curious about how to get placed in this company A, B, C, whatever. So how should they prepare? What is your advice?
the, the first thing is, whenever they come to IIT, there is a myth they'll 100% get placed. So I think that's a wrong thing which they have to take into consideration, and they have to, in IIT there are a lot many things are happening. So within first half semester they should explore all the things. So they should try all the things. Maybe not half, like considering full semester. So they have to explore their interest. Once you have interest, so you can achieve excellence in the same thing. But just for sake of placement, if you're doing something, so I think that will not help. And once you do that, you should start speaking to your seniors who have worked in the same area, and you should start working with the professor and the lab. So that's a great thing. So that goes perfectly with the RS, and
Yeah.
for TA also this goes, but after one semester, and then you should start taking course according to your interest. And I think 1.5 year there is still remaining after your first semester, but for placement there is only around 2 semesters, because at the end of third semester you have to be taking placements. But for resume freezing, you have only 1 semester. So now you are firefighting, because whatever you have to write in your resume is there, and you have only 1 semester. So you should start taking your course very accordingly as per your requirement and the according to the course project. So that is the major takeaway, and you have to work hard in the second semester. And for first semester, you should work for exploration, and for second semester, you should work for to achieve excellence in whatever field you have chosen.
Yes.
And please never go for data science field if you are looking that only for placement, because it hurts at the end. That is what I found. Who
Yes.
worked it deeply were placed in a good manner, but who did just for sake of placement were suffered. So they were like na ghar ka na ghat ka, because they were struggling between core and non-core. So they were good at core, but now they are shifted to non-core, and they were not able to do non-core as well. Non-core means the data science kind of company.
Yes.
So they were
Yes.
struggling. So, so there, that's the plan. So explore yourself, and whatever fits best for you, just do that. So there are enough opportunities are there in the placement.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, like you, yes, you mentioned that you should not do this thing or this course for the sake of placements only. Do only if you are genuinely interested or if you feel passionate towards that thing.
Because if interview asks you two questions in the same field, but you have just did that just sake of placement, so you cannot give a genuine answer to that. And the person who is taking interview, he's a experience. He is taking interview from like a lot of years, so he can judge you within a minute. So it will not help in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, true. Yes, Aniket, thank you. It was really nice talking to you. And so the last thing means, for your success, any person or any courses, do you feel that they have played a very important role? You can name them if you want to.
So
मत इन हिंदी अपनी सफलता का श्रेय आप किसे देना चाहेंगे?
so uh, I think two professors. One is Professor Asim Tiwari, and second is Professor Makrum Kulkarni, who understand my interest and they helped me to achieve my interest. And there was a course called data mining in mechanical engineering department. It was taught by Professor Vinay Kulkarni. So
Yes.
that course was a pure game changer. So that course leveraged my interest in the field. And then after learning that course, I went to my these two professors and I explained my learning, and these professors encouraged me to learn new things. And then there was another course in CS department, that is reinforcement learning,
Yes.
and and there was another course reliability. So I combined these two, and my professor helped me in that, combining the reinforcement learning with the maintenance, and to publish my first research paper.
Yes.
So I think lab and professor plays a major role.
Yes. Great. Yeah. Thank you, Aniket. It was nice talking to you. Thank you very much for taking your time for recording your experience. Thank you.
Thank you.